Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome, everybody, into the Overreaction Buffalo Postgame Show, brought to you by the Market Dominator team on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, presented by Picasso's Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day. Picasso's. We are Buffalo Pizza. Order online. They're shipping local and nationwide right now at picassospizza.net. I am the voice of the Overreaction Buffalo Postgame Show. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me, as always, on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. Welcome, everybody. And just like that, I'm watching the television, and Damar Hamlin has just made another amazing tackle on a Jets running back 15 yards downfield behind the defensive line and the linebackers. Clearly, that's a joke. But is it really a joke? I don't know how many tackles Damar Hamlin made downfield, but it was too many. You expect one of those, two maybe a game. But thank God Damar Hamlin can tackle as well as he can, because that was pretty ridiculous in a lot of ways. It's great to have you, all of you. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for making the Overreaction Postgame Show a priority after every Buffalo Bills game, whether win or lose. Quick note for everybody that is tuned in right now, whether in podcast or live, and I'm going to welcome all of you here in a second. I'm going to start dropping podcasts 3 days a week starting tomorrow, Monday, November 11th, on the Overreaction Sports RSS feed. Please like and subscribe to that feed. So if you go to Spotify, if you go to whatever your podcast platform is of choice, and you type in Overreaction Sports, mine should come up, or Overreaction Buffalo Sports. My original RSS feed should show up. I'm going to start doing some kind of out-of-the-box stuff that I've been wanting to do for a while and just haven't really gotten around to it. But if you'd like to get more content from me 3 times a week, weekly, from yours truly, you can go there and you can find that. It would be great. And no, just in case anybody's wondering, don't start any rumors. I am not going anywhere in regards to Buffalo Rumblings. This is my home. This is where I'm staying. I love everybody that's on this network with me, and it's just a pleasure and an honor to be here. Do me a favor. Make sure you like and subscribe right here on the Buffalo Rumblings YouTube channel. If you have not already, we are Super Chat Live. This is the recording of a podcast, and whether this podcast finds you around a cup of coffee, at the gym with your AirPods in, on the drive to work, punching yourself in the face from watching that football game, or watching me live right now, let me just say one more time, welcome. It's good to have you. Welcome to everybody that's up in the chat. There's a whole bunch of you, way too many for me to even mention. Thank you guys so much for being faithful, for always being here. I appreciate all of you more than you will ever know. Before we get started, we're gonna mix it up just a little bit. We're gonna talk about the Western New York Beer Trail, and I grabbed the book and left it upstairs. Son of a gun. The brand new 2023 Trail Pass from Western New York Beer Trail is now available. The 2023 pass is bigger and better than ever, and it actually is bigger than this one, like taller, like actually in. Physically, it's actually bigger. There's no better time to get ready for your next or for next year than right here, right now. The new pass features 53 area breweries, cideries, meaderies, and beer bars all over Western New York. While almost every stop still offers the 2 half-priced beers with your pass, there are several other offers available from select locations, such as discounts on flights, food, and merchandise. You can save over $400 with all the offers in this book, like a Tyler Bass field goal. Usually, you can't miss. Sorry, I had to throw it in there. The 2023 Trail Pass and other beer Trail Pass items are available at the website www.wnYbeertrail.com. Just click on the shop tab, and now through November 15th, use the code TheVoice15 to save on your entire order. This is the perfect way to start your holiday shopping early and even get yourself a little something. We at Western New York Beer Trail are proud to support everything local, craft beer, small business, local charities. Watch for our meetups and fundraising events along the way. Western New York Beer Trail. Drink local, support local. We'll see you on the trail. So basically, this is the beer trail. So you get on the website and you purchase it, and you get 2 of these bad boys. And I know you can't see it, but it's got information about effectively all the different breweries, cideries, meaderies, and everything. It's got the coupons in there for you to get 2 beers. So if you're going with a date, if you're going with a buddy, you can get 2 beers, 2 drinks at half price. The savings on that alone is going to pay for this little bad boy. So do yourself a favor, jump over to wnybeertrail.com, buy that thing, throw in the promo code, the voice 15. Do that for me because that's how we track this stuff to make sure that you guys are paying attention. Yeah, sign up today. Get yourself one. Ladies and gentlemen, so good to have you. Do me a favor, jump on that like button, hump that like, as we say on Wednesdays. It's not Wednesday, but it's okay if we say that on a Sunday, on a Monday. Thank you to everybody who is joining me live right now. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to talk about this game. Legit. Thomas DeLoss is in the chat. I should have him talk about it. Brian Bowers is in the chat. I could have him talk about it too. There's a whole bunch of people in here that could probably do this better than I could for this episode, and probably bring more energy to it. I don't want to talk about it. You know, losing is one thing. Not even showing up is another. And I did myself the favor, and I didn't mean to. It was accidental. I did myself the favor of missing the Jaguars loss last season because I was in Mexico. I took my bride, my spouse, on our 20th wedding anniversary. It was actually after our anniversary, but it was our trip that we had planned. I took her to Puerto Vallarta. I didn't see, but probably about a third of that game because where I was at, they didn't carry the game. And then the Bills did what they did against the Jaguars, and I didn't have a show to do. It was great. Unfortunately, I have a show to do for this one. We got our first super chat, Jesse Stentz. Jesse, thank you so much for being a part of the show. God grant us the serenity to accept that Allen had a bad game and that defensive personnel matter at some point. No matter how well the replacements initially played, it will get better. Jesse, that is a fantastically positive comment, and I very much appreciate it and thank you. And while it feels like the wheels are falling off or have fallen off, they haven't. This is still a very good football team. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about some negative things. We're going to talk about some positive things, but you are absolutely correct. Allen had a bad game. The defense had a bad game. The coaching staff had a bad game. Buffalo Freddy, my guy, says, Joe has the answer. Let's just go to Mexico. Let's go. I'm in. Dude, I am all about it. I am all about Mexico. Anyways, getting back to it. A week when the Patriots and the Dolphins won their football games, the Bills needed to beat the Jets to keep them down and stay ahead of the other two. Unfortunately, that's not how this week would go for the Buffalo Bills. And make no mistake, you don't want to hear this, but the division right now is in play. The AFC boasts the only division with all teams having a winning record. The Bills are at 6-2. The Jets are at 6-3. The Dolphins are at 6-3. And the Patriots are at 5-4. The pesky never go away. They never seem to go away. Annoying little nephew Patriots are right there. Zach Wilson, despite having gaudy numbers last week, actually, he didn't play a very good game. He had 3 bad interceptions. And again, this is last week. But today, in a game where I expected him wholly to hurt his team, the game plan that they rolled out there for him and getting the ball out as fast as humanly possible against that Buffalo Bills pass rush worked almost to perfection. No Breece Hall, no Corey Davis, very suspect offensive line. I just expected the Buffalo Bills to dominate despite their own injuries, primarily Jordan Poyer, Matt Milano. We obviously know that Micah Hyde is out for the season. And you didn't hear this from me, but I've got it on pretty good authority that I'm not sure that Jordan Poyer is going to be back this season. Don't quote me on that, but be prepared for bad news. It's the Armageddon scene. Prepare the world for bad news. Regardless of any of that information, there are no excuses. The Buffalo Bills lost to the Jets 20-17. And as much as I want the Jets fans to be able to do somewhat of a victory lap and enjoy this win, I just don't feel like the Jets did a whole lot to win this game. It's not like the Jets manhandled the Bills. I've said it a lot lately. I'm going to stand by it. And until I'm proven wrong, the only team that can beat the Buffalo Bills are the Buffalo Bills. Unfortunately, what's going to get run in the media and on the press this week is the Bills have still not beaten a divisional opponent. They're 0-2 in the AFC East, and that matters when every team has a winning record halfway through the season. It should absolutely 100% cool off the best team in football chatter outside of the city of Buffalo, and probably inside the city of Buffalo too, from guys like Jerry Sullivan, who probably hasn't said that once regardless. Robert Saleh said he was keeping receipts earlier this season, and my gosh, is the guy cashing them in. The reality is the Buffalo Bills just made too many mistakes in this football game, not mistakes that hurt them per se. So it's not like every turnover there was a touchdown. There was one, or one scoring drive. Only the second pick resulted in points, but mistakes never help you regardless of whether or not they immediately hurt you. And the Bills made their fair share of mistakes in this football game. Up 14-3 early, and anytime you're up 14-3, it feels like, as a Bills fan, you're cruising. Oh, this is, it's 14-3 in the second quarter. This is not going to end well for the Jets. The Jets come back immediately and score a touchdown. You were there for the rest of it. And if you're asking me, Joe, what went wrong in this football game? Or if you're asking other content creators, or you're asking yourself or your buddy, your dad, your neighbor, what went wrong? Well, I would submit to you what former Buffalo Bill Jerry Ostrowski's assessment was. Jerry said plainly to me in a text after this football game, football is an easy game. Number 1, block. Number 2, tackle. Number 3, ball handling. And the Buffalo Bills were 0-3 in this football game. For me, as an amateur, a commentary person, a guy that brings color to post-game stuff, and I'm an alternative content creator, meaning that I don't get directly paid by the NFL or the Buffalo Bills or any major local media outlet. In my amateur novice fan eyes, which there was obviously a reporter that came out this year and said that people need to stop listening to the fan sites. Well, I are a fan site. That's what I am. That's what I do. For me, football is a physical game where one team imposes its will on the other. Football is a physical game where one team imposes its will on the other team until the time for the game runs out. Over and over again in this football game, we saw the Bills refuse to do so. And it wasn't just this game. You can back it up 2 quarters into the Green Bay Packers game. This game felt a lot like the Packers game. It just felt weird, right? Like from jump. The kickoff, Zerline slips, the Bills are on it. And thank God that was like one of those moments when the wheels are going to come off, that's like where it happens. Like kicker slips, it's a freak play, like drives the ball into the up backs. However, the up backs have already turned and ran the other direction, so they're not even sure of what happened to the football, but that didn't happen. The Bills were focused. They were ready. The ball gets kicked right to them, and they're ready to recover it. They've got it. It's perfect. I was like, yes, we are focused. We're ready to go in this football game. And then Josh Allen hits Stefon Diggs over Sauce Gardner with a double move. Beautiful pass for 30-something yards. I've got it in my notes somewhere. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact measurement. Chris Schenke was here. He can tell you. And then immediately after that, Josh Allen throws a bad red zone interception. Something he does not do very often. So to the earlier super chat point, Josh Allen had a bad game, but the world isn't going to end. Josh Allen said in his post game that the defender was covered up by the defensive end, so he didn't see him. So effectively, when you think proximity and viewing angles, as he's rolling to his right, the defensive end was standing there. The defender was right behind the defensive end. All he could see was Dawson Knox. He thought Dawson Knox was effectively wide open. He wasn't. It's fine. It happens. But the Jets go 3 and out. And it seemingly didn't hurt the Bills at all. Again, getting back to that point I made earlier, even if it doesn't hurt you immediately, it doesn't help you in the long run either, getting a turnover or making those mistakes. Bills get the ball back, they go down, they score somewhat easily. But early in this game, even with them scoring somewhat easily, early in this game, something just felt off with this Bills offense. And I know you guys felt it too because I was reading your tweets. So Joe Marino has my very good friend Joe Marino from Locked On Bills has cued me into a site to go to where I can, like, if I want to do the plays, like I used to chart the games, and it was annoying because I didn't get to enjoy the games as much as I used to because I'm charting play by play. I'm charting everything, like who got the ball for how long and how many yards they run, what happened on the play. And Joe Marino actually included me into a website that I can go to, and I can actually see like every play in a drive. So I don't have to chart plays anymore. So now I'm actually able to be on Twitter and kind of hanging on to what you guys are feeling or what you guys are saying. And it was clear that all of you felt the same way that I did. It just seemed a little bit off. Not sure what they were trying to do or what they weren't trying to do. It just didn't feel like what we're used to seeing out of this Bills offense. They were reacting to the defense versus kind of dictating to the defense, which we've talked about on this show for a long time with me in the last couple of years. I want to see an offense that's out there dictating to the defense, not necessarily taking what the defense gives them. Completely gone are the intermediate throws from this passing offense. We're almost living back, and it was mentioned in the postgame pressers again today, we're almost back living in the J.P. Lossman, Trent Edwards days of, well, they were in a cover 2 shell. They were playing the Tampa 2, and whenever they played the Tampa 2, we can't really push the ball down the field. Josh Allen made a living in 20 and 21 with teams playing the cover 2 shell. And now all of a sudden, if they're in a cover 2 shell, the script, the game plan is for him to basically tuck tail and run. Throw it to the guy 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, get 4 yards, let's go. Versus throwing the ball 13 yards down the field to a wide open Dawson Knox or a wide open Gabe Davis or a wide open enter football player name here. It's a little frustrating. And to prove almost my point that something was a little bit off, what did the Buffalo Bills do in the second quarter? They actually went up tempo to manufacture rhythm. I don't know how many of you caught that. They started going no huddle. Deion Dawkins talked about it in his presser. So even they realized we're having some rhythm issues. We're having some execution issues. We're having some problems. Let's go up tempo. And they found rhythm. Josh Allen, I've said this for years as well. If you've been watching this show, as long as Pam in the chat has, Pam Madonna on Twitter has, you will know that I've said 1,000 times Josh Allen works better if he's in an up-tempo offense. He just does. He puts the defense immediately on their heels because he's a dangerous player. I'm not saying that they should do that all the time. I'm not calling for the K gun. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that when the Bills go up-tempo, they're dangerous and they find rhythm. It was more so with Brian Daboll. It's been better this year with Dorsey. But it was weird because when it comes back to the idea, the concept, the feeling that this was another weird game or a continuation of a weird game, it felt like they left off from the Packers game at halftime. They were just out of rhythm. It was just strange, weird. And I don't know, do we want to have a conversation as Bills fans? Do we want to have a conversation about weapons on this football team, receivers, guys just seemingly either not showing up or not getting schemed to be in the offense? I saw a stat that Gabe Davis right now has a catch percentage or a catch rate of 53%. That's Zay Jones levels. Where is Dawson Knox in this offense? What the hell is going on? Jay Spence, the King, went on a giant rant on Wednesday on the Hump Day Hotline, talking about the Isaiah McKenzie experiment in the slot is not working. I saw it on several other people's feeds today on Twitter. Yep, not working. Khalil Shakir was invisible outside of the one bad pass that Josh Allen threw, where I couldn't tell if he was ahead of Shakir or trying to force it into Diggs behind him. Who knows where that ball was going? It was going to no man's land. Khalil Shakir was invisible in this football game. And before anybody jumps on me, just listen to the commentary. Don't extrapolate. Don't turn it into people's personal lives. Don't take it to places it doesn't need to be. Take what I'm about to say for the weight and the merit of what it is. You have to think that this offense is missing Cole Beasley. You have to think that this offense is missing that guy that can get 3-4 yards downfield over the middle and is an outlet receiver for Josh Allen, because that guy scares the hell out of the defense and makes them pull up and opens up the back behind them. This offense, you have to feel, is missing that guy, that player. Now, we know that the Brian Daboll offense is being run by Ken Dorsey. But we also know that the Ken Dorsey offense that's being run by, or the Brian Daboll offense being run by Ken Dorsey, looks a little bit different. And that's one of those pieces. It's easy to manufacture that, in my opinion, to put a guy that's going to be that little outlet dude, right? I don't know that this is a Cole Beasley thing as much as it's that player's not being schemed. It's missing from this offense. Josh Allen, now instead of going 3 yards ahead, he's going 2 yards or 3 yards behind. Right? I mean, isn't that what you guys are seeing as well? It just doesn't seem like McKenzie in the slot is working, and there's been a focus to put Diggs in the slot. And as much as I like that idea and that concept, Diggs in the slot means that the guys on the outside have to be effective. And the reality is, I love Gabe Davis. He's not been effective. And a lot of you love Jake Kumaro. And guess what? He's not been effective either. You can hate me and turn the show off now if you like. I don't care. Just is what it is. They've gone literally from having weapons all over the field to having Stefon Diggs, period, end of story. Just Stefon Diggs. He's the only weapon that's on this team. So either the wide receivers are not getting open, or Josh isn't willing to let the ball go, which I don't think we would ever believe that Josh is unwilling to throw the football. Or the offensive scheme is different and not in a good way right now. I'm not saying that it's been this way the whole season. I'm saying right now with whatever they're struggling with. Right now, this offense looks like it's in trouble. The reality is as much as Josh Allen, I think, is either 83 or 86% of the offense's output, he can't be the entire offense. Even when he is the entire offense and the team is executing, other players are showing up. And now Josh is still kind of being the entire offense, but nobody is helping him. And I don't mean that to be a slam or to disparage a player, that a player isn't helping him, as much as I think they're not being schemed to help him. More on the offense in a minute, because I've got a story. The story that I've got, my story of this football game, which you're going to want to stick around for if you haven't hung up on me already. More on that in a second. On defense, the Buffalo Bills as well, or they're just giving up, or they did just give up too much ground to a Jets team that are trying to make a statement in the NFL. They're like, we're they were 5-3. We're 5-3. Why are we being overlooked? Especially on the ground in the second half, they were trying to make a statement. Von Miller did some Von Miller things. It was great. And I can't, at the moment, I couldn't speak highly enough. It's in my notes. I couldn't speak highly enough of the strip sack. I thought the strip sack Von Miller had on Zach Wilson was going to be a huge swing in the game. I was like, that should seal this game and crush the Jets and what they think they want to do. The Jets were in scoring position in the red zone, ready to double dip coming out of the half to take the lead. And Vaughn was like, nope. Little bit of a weird delayed rush. And then forces his way, gets to Wilson, strips him. It was great. We have another super chat from James. James, thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. You double up Diggs and you put your number one on Gabe, and we have no real answer, sadly. And this is kind of the chatter that's going around right now, that the idea is that you put your number one corner on Gabe Davis, you bracket Stefon Diggs, and it's over. And as much as I saw people light up in the comments section, because this is a live show for those of you that are listening to it in podcast form, as soon as I mentioned the name Cole Beasley, some people got upset. I'm not talking about Cole Beasley. But that position, that guy, that person, that role changes the complexity of the defense of the offense. It doesn't allow them to just do that. It doesn't allow them, if you've got a guy in the middle that's going to sit down and keep moving the chains by turning around and falling down after 4 yards or 5 yards, it doesn't allow you to just put your number one on Gabe Davis, bracket Stefon Diggs, and call it a day. You can't do that. Meanwhile, some of you are all up in your feels about people and their personal lives. Just let it go. That's not what I'm talking about. People say stupid stuff. People believe stupid things, and people are stupid. You're not stupid. I'm not stupid. So just write them off. They're stupid. Who cares? Doesn't change the concept of what I'm saying. Just getting back to the offense, it just wasn't Josh's day or the offense's day today. He had 2 awful interceptions. The second one to Sauce Gardner, which I didn't like. I didn't like him giving an interception to the rookie. It left a bad taste in my mouth. And the reality is Josh hasn't been consistently sharp the last couple of games. It's almost like he's confused at what he's seeing. Stefon Diggs, just if you didn't hear this already, let me just drive this home. Stefon Diggs didn't have a catch in the second half. He actually didn't have a catch from the middle of the second quarter on. You are arguably the best quarterback wide receiver pairing in the league, and you can't connect one time in an entire half where you are either tied or losing. That alone to me is a mirror statement for the coaches on this team and the entire offense. If you see a stat that basically says we didn't connect from the 8-minute mark of the second quarter on through the rest of the game, in a game where we were either tied or losing one time, somebody has to look themselves in the mirror, either on the coaching staff or from a player standpoint, and literally ask themselves, what the hell are we doing? We are arguably the best quarterback wide receiver tandem in the game. The numbers say so, and it's not a fluky, look what they're doing this year. It's just this year. They're going to catch up to them at some point. It's been 2.5. Even the special teams were making mistakes. Tyler Bass misses a field goal. It was long, but Tyler's normally pretty automatic. And the kickoff out of bounds, while it did not hurt the Buffalo Bills, the Jets had a 3-and-out after it. The Bills defense stood up, which was great. It just is what it is. It just wasn't. Told you I didn't want to talk about it. I don't know what you guys want from me. Before I get into the story of this football game from my point of view, and I give you the story of every game, every time we do the show, I give you the story of the game. Let's hear from our show sponsor, the title sponsor, the Market Dominator team, and John Spascheck.
Introducing the Market Dominator.
Folks, I'm John Spascheck. That's right, the Market Dominator. And I am the proud sponsor of the Overreaction podcast, hosted by my good friend, Joe Miller. His approach is absolutely outstanding. It's excellent. And that's what our approach is when we get into real estate. We help our clients win, just like our beloved team is doing week in and week out. So folks, if you want somebody representing you with the most cutting edge technology, using artificial intelligence and everything we can get our hands on to help you win, you reach out to me directly, 716-570-3298. We will answer our phone. And one more thing, go Bills.
Go Bills, even in a loss. We are forever go Bills. That is John Spascheck. John is a very good friend of mine, and John actually brokered my real estate deal when I moved back to Buffalo in 2018. He actually worked out something that's damn near impossible in the state of New York, which is early occupancy. So my family was coming in. We were like, school time was pressing. We were getting close to September. My wife was really distraught and concerned about us getting in and getting the girls in the school district, because also in New York State, unlike other states, you can apply to put your kids in a different district if you're willing to drive them. Not here. So there was a great deal of, we need to be in a house now. So John actually brokered our deal, got us in early occupancy, which is near, like I said, impossible. Crossed every T, dotted every I. He didn't let the sellers rest, or the seller agent rest, or make mistakes, or take their good old time. He was on them the whole way. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, do yourself a favor. Don't do just me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Call the best guy in the business. It's right there. Call the Market Dominator, 716-570-3298. Got on the super chat. Green Empire Lawn Care. Oh, look at you getting a little bit of a sponsorship call in there. I love it. Oh, he's a Jets fan too. They have arguably the number one defense. I don't know if you're talking about us or you're talking about the Jets. The Jets have a very good defense. I think we saw that in this football game, and they mimicked, right? So they mirrored what the Packers did. So not only do they have a good defense, they have the ability to take what other teams are doing against certain opponents and use that to their benefit. If you're talking about the Bills defense, we kind of already know that as Bills fans, that the Bills have arguably the number one defense as well. But the Jets, the Jets defense, the Jets defense is going to make up for the deficiencies at quarterback. Zach Wilson is not the answer right now. However, I think they learned some things about Zach Wilson in this football game, at least. Put Zach Wilson on a 2 or a 3-step drop, make him get the ball out as fast as he possibly can, and the kid can probably not lose you some football games right now. I didn't say he can win you. I said he can not lose you some football games. So appreciate the super chat from a Jets fan. That might actually be the first opposing team fan super chat I've ever gotten. It was awesome. So thank you for that. Now, let's get into the story of this football game before I talk about stats and then read you the tweets. So for me, the story of this game is this. And I know that some players subscribe to this notion, former players, and some former players don't. However, if you take the current players and what they said in their press conference, I think, for me personally, it absolutely screams that I'm correct. There is a book out right now on how to beat the Buffalo Bills, both on offense and defense. The story of this game is the New York Jets taking that game plan, of which, by the way, the head coach of the Packers, you heard it on the game feed if you were listening, is the brother of the offensive coordinator for the Jets. So it's not like, some dude from the Chiefs is calling some dude from the Rams and asking questions. Like, this is brother to brother. What'd you do to beat him? Download it to me, because it worked. And they did. Daquan Jones said in his postgame interview, and Von Miller basically said the same thing, they were doing the same thing to us that the Packers did as it pertains to the run game defensively. Offensively, sorry. So offensively, what the Jets did against the Bills defense. And on offense, the wide receivers the wide receivers, for whatever reason, can't get open. And Josh is, as I said earlier, a little bit unsettled. I don't want to say confused. He just seems unsettled, unsure, maybe a little bit. And it's leading to just some bad execution. The Bills are, and this is one of the struggles that good teams go through, right? Usually it's not an extended period of time. Normally for most teams, you go through a situation like this, an opponent figures something out on you, which the Green Bay Packers clearly did in that game last week. And then you go back to the drawing board and you figure it out and you are able to overcome it. You adjust, you solve the problem. Daquan Jones said, we did try to work on it. We did try to solve this problem. For whatever reason, it did not come to fruition. They had success against us as well. Von Miller said the exact freaking same thing. So I don't want to hear any of this. That stuff rarely works. It's not true. There's no such thing as having a book on a team, like blah, 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 blah. It's happening. Game plans, the same game plan was used. Both, you could see it on offense and on defense. The good news is when it comes to this type of a thing, I expect the Buffalo Bills coaching staff, who is very, very good, to solve these problems. But even with that, when you're a good team, your season is never decided at week 9, whether you lose to the Jaguars or you lose to the Jets. Clearly, the Jets' loss looks better than losing to the Jaguars. The Jets are a winning football team. Jaguars were horrid last year. But like we saw last year in a week 9 loss to the Jaguars, it can make the rest of the season, the road to the Super Bowl, decidedly harder. Right now, not only is the AFC East in question, but obviously the number 1 seed is up in the air as well. I know we don't want to believe that as Bills fans. We don't want to believe that the Jets are good enough to win the East. We don't want to believe that the Dolphins are good enough to win the East. We don't want to believe that the Patriots are good enough to win the East. But right now, there is a book on how to beat the Bills defense and run on them and gash them so that DeMar Hamlin is making tackles 15 yards downfield, straight up the middle, running straight at your big dudes, the guys you brought in, Tim Settle, Daquan Jones, right? Jordan Phillips. There's a book right now out on them. And there's a book on this offense as well. Play a cover 2 shell, do this, bracket like what was brought up in the super chat. Put your number 1 guy on Gabe Davis, bracket Stefon Diggs, you completely shut him down. It's over. There's a book. We had a super chat from Darcy. Darcy, I love you and I appreciate your super chat. I honestly cannot pronounce your last name. Konezny is a guest. Konezny, Darcy Konezny. Now, Darcy, I'm looking for, I think this is it. So this is your chat. The Bills have been exposed the last 2 weeks. Did we peak too early? We definitely did not peak. First of all, Darcy, thank you for your super chat. And thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it more than you know. I hope that you're having fun in the comment section and that people are treating you well. No, the Buffalo Bills did not peak too early. This is part of an NFL season. This is part of the ebbs and flows. This is part of what happens to the NFL. I would say there's a heightened sense of urgency amongst us Bills fans, knowing that the Chiefs, who are on TV right now, right, are in play for that number 1 seed. And as the Titans, I'm literally watching the television, just ripped off a huge run. There's, the number 1, this entire season, everything that's going to be written about this season for the Buffalo Bills is about the number 1 seed. Because if the road to the Super Bowl goes through Buffalo, it wildly increases the chances that this team is going to go to the Super Bowl. If it goes through Kansas City, we have challenges, right? I mean, we've beaten the Chiefs the last 2 years during the season in Kansas City. We've lost to the Chiefs the last 2 years in Kansas City in the playoffs. We want the playoffs to go through Buffalo. Now, the Bills are 0-2 in the division. That's not great. So the Bills not only have to have a commanding record going forward, but they've also got to start beating teams in the division. Because the reality is, 1 game back, the Jets and the Dolphins, more likely the Dolphins, are a threat to winning this division. So no, we did not peak too early. Actually, now is kind of when you want to have these problems that the Bills are having, because they've got an opportunity. They've got time to overcome it. Thank you so much, Darcy, for the super chat. I appreciate you more than you know. And then my girl, Pamela, should we be talking more, also super chat, should we be talking more about the offensive line? Josh was under so much pressure. Could that be why he was off? I don't think so. Josh has always dealt with pressure. Josh has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL to basically have to play against the blitz since he came into the league, or I should say since he got connected with Brian Dable. Josh handles pressure, moves out of the pocket well. There's something else going on downfield where he's not seeing, or the players are not schemed open the way that they have been in the past. Guys are either not getting open, which goes back to what I said before about having that release valve, or it's just something else. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, Pam, to your question. I don't think that that's why. I don't think it's an offensive line issue. I think the offensive line played fine. I think he's checking down on the flat too much, and he's pulling out too early at times. James with another super chat. After this game, Joe, if you are Bean, are you going after OBJ? Clearly, and I'm one of the biggest proponents, or I should say I'm one of the biggest. I was not a proponent. I was a detractor. I was a opponent of getting Odell Beckham Jr. But at this point in time, if everything that we're seeing, reading, and hearing is that there is already an agreement in place for Odell Beckham Jr. to come to Buffalo on a 2-year deal that is very incentive laden. So they're not giving away the entire store for OBJ. At this point, I'm going after him because for me, OBJ changes the game and changes the conversation that we were talking about earlier about that Beasley role. OBJ can live in that Beasley role, or he can go to the boundary. OBJ can play the boundary as well. If you've been watching, tuned into, listening to the show for any amount of time, I'm the guy that said that the Bills made a huge gamble or took a huge gamble and made a wild mistake in having Jake Kumaro as their only boundary receiver, backup boundary receiver. Stefon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Jake Kumaro. That was it. Well, but Joe, Khalil Shakir can play the boundary. Oh, but Joe, Isaiah McKenzie can play the boundary. Oh, but Joe, blah, 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 blah. How's that working out for you, Buffalo? How's Jake Kumaro working out for you, playing the boundary when Stefon Diggs is in the slot? I know we all love Touchdown Jesus. We all love him. I love Touchdown Jesus. But now we're in a situation where Isaiah Hodgins is gone. Isaiah Hodgins is a New York Giant. He's going to a team where he already knows the playbook. I talked to him today. He's going to a team where the wide receiver core is wildly injured or not executing well. It won't be long before he is effectively a go-to option, in my opinion, for that offense, which, oh, by the way, Daniel Jones lives in that sub 15-yard, 15, 20-yard space, which is where Isaiah Hodgins can win all day long. It's a giant possession receiver. So now we're stuck unless we can get OBJ. So hopefully we, praying to God. Hopefully we're praying to God that OBJ is coming to Buffalo, that all the rumors are true. All the rumors are true. I love this show and I love you guys. I appreciate you guys more than you know. Let's hit stats real quick. So at halftime, I always have to take a picture because you can't find halftime stats. So I'm navigating to my phone. So at halftime, the Buffalo Bills had 93 rushing yards. Obviously, 60 of those came from 40-something, 60. There was a bunch from Josh Allen. 161 passing yards, 54 total yards to the Jets 152. Time of possession was just about even. 5 of 7, the Bills were on third downs. The Jets were 1 of 5. The Bills were just beating them at halftime. But the score was 14-10. Wasn't great. By the end of the game stats were 317 total yards for the Bills, 310 for the Jets, pretty much even. Passing yards, 183 for the Bills, 136 for the Jets. 134 rushing yards for the Bills, 174 for the Jets. Number 1 rush defense in the league. They gave up 200 something last week, right? 174 this week. 19 first downs for the Bills, 21 for the Jets. 8 of 13 third down efficiency for the Bills, 5 of 13 for the Jets. 61-61 total plays. The Bills allowed 5 sacks in this game. Goes back to Pam's question about the offensive line. The Jets in that awful offensive line only allowed 2 sacks. Again, Zach Wilson was getting the ball out extremely fast. 2 punts to 3 punts, blah, 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 blah. The rest is just garbage. Time of possession. Bills 27 minutes. Excuse me. The Jets 32, and a lot of that is predicated upon the fact that the Jets kept the ball for what 6 of the last 8 minutes or something like that, or 7 of the last 8 minutes in the game. Josh Allen was 18 of 34 for 205 and 2 interceptions. Not great. Rushing, he led the team, 9 carries, 86 yards, 9.6 average, obviously with the big one, 2 touchdowns. Singletary, 8 rushes for 24 yards. Womp womp. James Cook, we've not talked about James Cook in this game or on the show. James Cook had a pretty good game. Like, he's starting to kind of come into his own a little bit. He was 4-15 for 3.8. I'll take that all day long. Isaiah McKenzie was 1 for 9 in the jet sweep. Receiving, Stefon Diggs was 5 of 93 for 18.6. That was in the first quarter and a half. Stefon Diggs was 5 of 93 for 18.6 yards per catch in the first quarter and a half. Gabe Davis was 2 of 33. I don't have his targets. Dawson Knox, 3 of 25. I didn't even realize Dawson caught 3 balls. Earlier I said, where was Dawson Knox? He caught 3 passes. I remember the one. I thought he caught 1. Singletary, 4 of 24. James Cook, 2 of 18. It's just not great. Defensively, DeMar Hamlin had a sack. Von Miller had a sack, the strip sack. Obviously, no interceptions. Not great. Paid and Plays, my guy Carmen says, with the super chat, says, all aboard the draft elite guards train. Toot, toot. Peyton, we've been saying that for a couple of years now, bro. It has legit been a couple of years. There was an expectation that the Bills were going to draft a guard. I can tell you this firsthand knowledge that the plan was to move Tommy Doyle inside. Tommy Doyle has an ACL injury. So that's clearly not happening any time soon. Jay Spencer King, my guy, says, Joe, maybe John Fina can ask the Bills to bring Mimi in so she can show them how to tackle. I love it. Jay Spencer King is in New Jersey, I should say. He went to this football game, and he's talking about Mimi Fina, who is a rugby player, a very good rugby player, and she played at her college. And so she maybe. The good news is DeMar Hamlin can tackle 15 yards downfield. Every running DeMar Hamlin, Jay Spencer King, was catching bodies in this game. He was catching bodies 15 yards downfield because their running backs, both James Robinson and Michael Carter, were getting past the defensive line and past the linebackers. This was another game. So 2 games in a row where this is not in my notes. This is just me being frustrated. 2 games in a row where the Buffalo Bills' defensive coaching arrogance put them in a situation where they did not move out of the nickel 4-2. You've got your quarterback is Zach Wilson that you're facing, not Aaron Rodgers, not Tom Brady, not anybody worth any type of salt, not Tua Tagovailoa even. Zach Wilson is the quarterback, and you do not move off of the scheme, the 4-2 nickel scheme, which allows the defense, or the offense, I should say, that you're playing to continue to charge up the gut at you when they've got a gash angle that they're continuing to exploit. It's exactly the same thing we saw against Jonathan Taylor last year. All the Bills had to do was change their philosophy for a couple. Never mind. In case you're wondering if I'm annoyed, yes, I'm annoyed. I get the nickel 4-2. I get that we're stronger in the nickel 4-2. I get that it's our base defense. When Matt Milano's playing, I sent out a tweet at the end of the football game, and you guys were very chatty. So this is going to take some time. Buckle up, Bills Mafia. Buckle the freak up. The Bills drop a game in a flat performance against the New Jersey Jets. How's that loss got you feeling, Bills Mafia? Reading your tweets live on the Overreaction Postgame Show. That's right now. Peyton says, old man yells at a cloud. Yes. Oh, Jay Spencer King. I talked about it. You got to back up the show, Jay Spencer King. If you weren't here, Little Dirty got to go. Logs out of chat. I channeled you. I talked about you. I talked about it. Oh, getting back to the tweets. Reading the tweets. Let's read the tweets. Super Bowl champs at Saxa Dave, my guy, all the way from over in Europe. Before the bye, I was singing the praises of our coaching adjustments. Since the bye, I'm not sure our coaches know what an adjustment is. What is going on? Coaches, Josh, injuries. It's only November. So I'm not panicking, but the only thing I can think that can beat the Bills is the Bills. Right there with you, bro. Bills Media 716 at Bills Media 716. Josh, with an arm injury, put a bomb to Gabe Davis on the money with one-on-one coverage against Sauce Gardner on to Minnesota. I don't mind that take. And it probably was pass interference, but at the end of the day, I tweeted this and a bunch of people got mad at me. I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to win that way. I don't want to win on a pass interference on a 70-yard pass. That's not how I want to win a football game. I want to win, right? At the end of the day, I guess I had it in my notes: win pretty, win ugly, just win, baby. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm lying to myself. Bill S at Crazy Bill, CRZY Bill. We need someone besides Diggs and Allen to make plays. Oh, ding, ding, ding. Joe Miller said that. Hopefully Allen grabbing his arm isn't serious. Well, considering he threw a 70-yard pass on a rope immediately after, I think he might be okay. Division games are always hard to win. Hate the loss, but not worried where this team is going. Appreciate the tweet, bro. Anthony at Cattle Dog Dad. Do we come out of this game without any serious injuries? That field is notoriously injury-ridden. Jay Spencer King talks about this all the time. All parts of the team lost, special teams, offense, and defense. Offense was the worst culprit of it. Defense, we were playing with half starters, half second stringers. If we had most of our starters, I feel like the run defense would have been better. I know that's what you want to think. But missing Matt Milano, Micah Hyde, and Jordan Poyer is not going to get the defensive front four to stop the run better. I know that's what you want to think. It's just not true. Something has been exposed. There is something that is schematically been exposed to how we're scheming this defensive line that teams are finding success. Teams, not one team, two teams. Teams are finding success, gashing us up the middle. This is not a Matt Milano issue. This is not a Tremaine Edmonds issue. This is not a DeMar Hamlin issue. This is not a Taron Johnson issue. This is not a Jaquan Johnson issue. This is a Daquan, Tim Settle, Ed Oliver, Shaq Lawson, Jordan Phillips, Von Miller, who said in his press conference, I need to be better against the run. Didn't mean to come at you hard, Anthony. Just how I feel. Pamela, who's in the chat at Pamadonna, does one crappy game define us? No. I don't count Miami in that heat. It sucked, but we are a great team. Even after the loss today, I'm not worried on the Vikings. I'm not worried either. Just annoyed. Can I be annoyed for 5 minutes? I'm annoyed. Okay, I'm annoyed for an hour. All right, I'm annoyed for the last 5 hours. I'm annoyed. Josh Dawsey, MSLATATC. Wow, at JK Dawsey. We have to go through Kansas City again for the AFC title in the playoffs. It's not written in stone. The Chiefs are playing the Tennessee Titans right now. It's the top of the second. It's 3-0. I actually tweeted myself. I said, at Joe Miller Wired, there's a game I won't ever rewatch. I'm not gonna rewatch that game. J-Rock at JRock1721. He just literally tweeted me ... That's the perfect tweet for this game. It's perfect. I'm going to retweet it because it's perfect. Karen, let's go Buffalo at Go Sabres Bills. Okay, now that it is digested a bit, yes, total crap game. But Bills are still a respectable 6-2, still lots of football left, and they'll bounce back and go back to stacking W's. We are finally spoiled with a great team after living the drought. Hashtag Wildest Dreams Land, which, by the way, reminds me, not the best week to promote it, but Buff on Weck is now printing and selling official Wildest Dreamland t-shirts. So if you hear me talk about all the time and it has become part of your vernacular, part of your vocabulary, to say Wildest Dreams Land, buffonweck.com is now selling Wildest Dreamlands t-shirts, as well as Overreaction Postgame, the moniker, the Bills head thing that's my logo. They're selling those t-shirts as well. So jump over to buffonweck.com and buy yourself a Wildest Dreams Land t-shirt. Love that tweet. British Bulldog, Billdog at British Billdog. I don't know how you're going to put together a 45 to 60-minute show off the back of that. Well, it's always easy to talk about L's. I don't have the words. Ugly, maddening, off-brand. That was not a 2022 Buffalo Bills game. Agreed. Jeff Hartman at Go Bills 1958. What is wrong with Josh? Worried about his arm now. I'm a little worried about the injury. I do believe he'll be fine. Michael Mix at Adirondack Mike 7. He says, goddamn embarrassing. Sorry to the parents listening with their children in the cars. McCrane 430 at McCrane 430. Different team since the bye week. Excuse me. For whatever reason, since the second half of the Packers game, both sides of the ball are struggling because there's a book on them right now. Won't be a Super Bowl team playing like this. Well, that's for damn sure. At ROC Chase, tough loss, but we need to do better on all fronts. The talent is there. We need to use it more wisely. Go Bills. He's got the cool glasses emoji, the thumbs up, and the lightning bolt. RJP at Robert Pimpo. Horribly embarrassed. I don't want to be horribly embarrassed, but I'm embarrassed. K. Bugaj at Ann Bugaj, B-U-G-A-J. Having trouble. I'm more realistic. I still think they win the AFC East, but maybe 12-5, 11-6. There is no way this football team is losing 6 games. And I love you. I appreciate you being part of the show, but they're not losing 6 football games. Their schedule screams that they're not. If they lose 6 football games, that means they're losing all of their AFC East games, which is a freaking problem. Carmen Clark at Army Vet. Appreciate you, and thank you for your service, sir. I'm pissed. At Buffalo Bills played like freshmen in high school. What I just watched was absolutely disgusting. They deserve to lose. I'm beyond upset. Way beyond. James Alexander Perks at MRJ Perks 6789. I believe this is another British listener to the Overreaction Buffalo Bills postgame show. At least this wasn't as bad as the Jags lost last year. That is true. I would agree with you, bro. The Jets are actually a legit team. Also true, especially on defense. Also true. I'm a bit apprehensive about going to Minnesota next week. I'll be at the game. Could be tricky if Dalvin Cook is the show for them. I think the Bills will shore that up. That's just what I think. Omaha's Bills fan at Robin Omaha. Lots to be concerned with. Josh sucked today. Injured? ? No throws down the field or over the middle. Run D sucks. Trey better be back next week. I don't know that Tre'Davious White, throwing him in there against Justin Jefferson, is the best idea. The week he comes back. I know there was a lot of people that didn't want him to play in this game because of the turf. My God, get him some reps. 5 reps, 10 reps? Get him 10 reps. Rorosaurus 7 at Rory Prunk. We need a dangerous presence in the slot. I've been talking about that all the game. Need Josh to make better decisions, and we need at least one of our starting safeties and corners. This was embarrassing, and even with all the problems, if Josh had made better decisions, we would have won. I don't think it's all on Josh. Could Josh have made better decisions? Yes. Do guys have to get open? Yes. Were guys open? I don't think so. It's not all on Josh. Didn't have a good game, but it's not all on Josh. Chili Den at Chili Den 716. Like the Vikings are going to blow them out. Allen looked like a running back today. The Vikings are not going to blow out the Buffalo Bills. Mac of the Mafia at the _Mac_1. The Bills just embarrassed themselves and the entirety of the fandom yet again. These disgusting performances where we look like a high school team against inferior opponents can't continue every season. Something has to give. Games like this are not acceptable. Look, the reality is like it's the NFL and all the guys are professional, and any given week is a real thing. Any given week you can be beaten by any given team. This is one of those examples. Ronnie, who has his own podcast at Ronnie Eastham. Not well, but this game doesn't change the fact that this team is the best team in the league. I like the optimism. Sean Berry at Sean Berry Expos, very similar to last year versus the Jacks. Not completely similar, but a little bit. Karen at hashtag Let's Go Buffalo at Goo Sabres Bills. Just, I wish I could show you guys. She's got the hairy monkey, the white hairy monkey on sitting on the stool with the WTF sign, like all the different pictures, the GIF. It's funny. Dude, there's a ton of these things. Jeff Pijanowski at Pijanowski. Could be worse. Could be a Raiders or Packers fan. Dum, dum, dum. Jeff dropping the hammer, the reality hammer on the Buffalo Bills fan base. Could be worse. Could be a Raiders or a Packers fan. Well played, Jeff. Payton, who's in the comment section. My guy Carmen, love you, dude. At Payton. On this day, a football game was played in New Jersey. It was promptly forgotten. I love you, dude. More than you know. Buff at Buff 310-30611. Frauds, period. I wouldn't go that far. Joey at Joey _Mole. Yikes. The one word tweets are easy to read and quick to get through. Alex and her at Alex and her 24. One loss away from third place in the AFC East. That's how it feels. You're not wrong. Dr. Bonnie C, no haters at Bonnie C. Worried about Josh Allen's arm. I'm a little worried too, but I think we're going to be okay. At Ford Race 1. I'm 58. Feels a bit like the Super Bowl flops. No, come on. We're not in Super Bowl flop range. Meg at foul_Megs. My cousin, a Jets fan, asked me who I'd want as my quarterback after today's game, and I didn't even hesitate. Josh effing Allen. I don't give a crap about MVP, only the Super Bowl MVP. Bills and Josh and JA17 will be fine. Sometimes you need a chin check. Onward and upward, they will go and extend Jordan Poyer. Pay all pro Poe. Yes, Meg. I like it. Love it. Mountain Man at Cuscu, KUSKU 72. Much like the Bills' overall performance, a little bit piss poor. Brandon at Campton Panalones. My guy, Brandon. I love this guy. It's one of my favorite dudes in the whole world. They got to figure it TF the F out because now you got Minnesota and Cleveland coming. I'm not worried about Cleveland. Minnesota is a concern. There's a real opportunity for the Bills to drop 2 games in a row right here. I, however, don't think they're going to lose another game after the Vikings game. They got to figure it TF out. Now you got Minnesota and Cleveland coming here, and neither is a gimme. It's gut check time. Brandon, you are absolutely correct. I loved this tweet. I saw it earlier today. I got to figure out a way to accurately describe it to you guys. So Josh Allen's notorious bodyguard at Elvergon, he sent me a picture. And the picture is basically 5 steps of the season, right? And he says it's the same shit every year. And what he's talking about is this current iteration of the Buffalo Bills, the Josh Allen, Sean McDermott Bills. Step 1, we beat the Chiefs and secure number 1 seed for the moment. Step 2, we lose games that should be a lock for us. That's where we are. We're here. Step 3, we fumble the number 1 seed and we lose the bye week. Step 4, we lose to the Chiefs in round 2 or in the second or third round. Step 5, no Super Bowl. Buffalo will come back stronger next year. That's a solid tweet. He's not wrong. It's a solid tweet. Leon Brooks at El Antonio 84. Wish they had a run game to lean on besides Allen onto the Vikings. Eric Gahn at Mick Higgs, hoping Allen isn't hurt. Darcy, Darcy, you're in my comment section here, or here in my tweet section. I still can't pronounce your last name. You're gonna have to phonetically send me how to pronounce your last name. At Darcy Khan, that's easy. Josh Allen deserves a thumbs down dude award for this one. Reality check. Put this one behind us. I didn't even do the dude award. I didn't do the dude awards last week. It's hard for me to do dude awards in losses because I feel like I'm piling on, and that's just me being a nice guy. I'm sorry, Darcy, that I'm letting you down, but you're not wrong. Josh Allen absolutely deserves a thumbs down dude award, as does the Bills coaching staff, as does that freaking front 4, all 10 of them of the Bills defensive line, and Jaquan Johnson. I could go on. Gabe Davis, talking to you. Is there a thumbs up dude award for this game? Let's think. Thumbs up dude award for this football game. Reed Ferguson snapped the ball really well. I think that might be it. Moving on. Mrs. KCB at Ophelia FL. Jets played well, absolutely deserved the win. We've got a stank on this right now, and they better figure it out and quickly. I'm okay with the loss only because we flat out deserved it. Yuck. Love that. Kyle Stenberg, I'm almost done. Steenberg, sorry, at Kyle Steenberg 1. Singletary is useless. Singletary is as useless as a broken condom. The defense does not respect him when he's on the field at all. I don't agree with that. Singletary has his moments where he's incredibly effective, and you want to talk about a guy that can make it somebody miss in a phone booth, it's DS, it's Motor. I like Singletary. I like him on this team, but that's enough to make me laugh right there. That was awesome. Frank C. Narf Chick, KNARF Chick, CHIC. and the Titans just scored to go up 7-9. The Chiefs are winning. They've done this the last couple of years in the middle of their season, and it cost them home field last year. I don't want to hear any BS this week. They rested guys that could have played. That's 1,000% true. This coaching staff has gone wildly conservative on sitting guys that they think that they can get by with. Oh, we can probably sit Milano this week and let him get a little bit better because it's the Jets and we could probably win. Yeah, that was a mistake today. Less of a division opponent, and they got handled 0-2 in the division. Frank, that was fantastic. I got 4 more. Reboot at @just_reboot. Josh's evil twin showed up to troll Bill's Mafia faithful. Milano is the cornerstone of our defense, and suddenly only Diggs is the only weapon. Weird. First of all, the fact that you clued into my notes without us even having a conversation is amazing. So you got my notes. So like I said that you all heard me that I said Diggs is the only weapon. I don't like the fact, and I don't like the belief. I don't like the feeling that this defense is totally different without Milano. I don't think that was what the problem was in this game. I don't think the absence of Milano was why they played bad, because this defense looked identical to the last 2 quarters of the Green Bay Packers game. Yes, Milano is a great player. Milano is an impact player. Milano is an amazingly instinctual player who is very good against the pass and against the run. But I don't think this is a situation where Milano is the reason this defense looked the way that it did in this game. Clear? Black Tower Elite at Tower Elite 17. He likes his commercials more than preparing, and that is for sure. Come on. Can we just stop? Like, I almost want to block you. We have been pining for 20 years for a quarterback that gets national attention and national recognition. We have that guy, arguably the best quarterback in the NFL, and now all of a sudden the comment is his commercials are more important to him, the one that he probably shot in the summer or in his on his off day or whatever, than preparing for the game. You should be embarrassed. Michael Caneham at Michael McCania 4. So he's got a different name than he does his handle. Josh Allen's worst game in a long time. Say what you want, but he looked absolutely horrible today. It wasn't a great game. And the last one that I have, I better hit refresh. I'm going to hit refresh. Hang on a second. I'm going to scroll down again. All the way down because there's so many of them. I've got a couple more. I got one more. Sorry. Josh Allen's worst game in a long time. Say what you want, but he looked absolutely horrible today. He definitely did not look good. And the last one, Filthy Beast at Filthy Beast 79, 0-2 in the division, and a team that has been exposed as a one-dimensional with a crapple line is not a good recipe moving forward. Once again, this team blew their wad in Kansas City and peaked. They won 13 games last year. Also not going anywhere with McDermott and Frazier's defense. Can we just not do the whole I'm just not into the gotta fire people conversation. Right? I'm just not into it. Somebody sent me a DM while the show was going on. Much love to you still. This is Anthony, my guy. Gotcha. He's just responding to me, responding to him, which is great. Ladies and gentlemen, those were your tweets. And I don't know if I missed a single super chat. I apologize. I was not looking at the screen for a very long time. So I'm scrolling back through now. But this has been wonderfully cathartic. I appreciate all of you. As much as I did not want to do this show, the show is over. And super appreciative to have had all of you on board with me. Again, for those of you that are listening now, if you listen to podcasts, starting tomorrow, Mafia Monday, I'm going to be dropping a podcast Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on my Overreaction Sports RSS feed. If you search Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, Google Play, Overreaction Sports, it's going to come up. Subscribe to it. You'll get some extra content from me, 20-minute shows, 30-minute shows, nothing crazy. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, just trying to be a little more creative, trying to get some more stuff out there into the universe, into the ether. But I love every single one of you. Thank you for hanging with me as long as you guys have. Brian Bowers says, thanks as always, Joe. Brian, you know I love you, dude. Double B is the man. He says, I'll be listening. But ladies and gentlemen, You have been tuned into the Overreaction Buffalo Postgame Show, brought to you by the Market Dominator team on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, presented by Picasso's Pizza. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter, as always, at Joe Miller Wired. I love interacting with the Mafia. Do me a favor. If you're on Twitter, follow me, interact with me. I'll chat you up. I won't ignore you. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy that's verified, has the blue check, and doesn't like and doesn't respond. I will legitimately respond to you, but appreciate you guys. This show is going to drop as a podcast, Monday, and then again, Overreaction Sports on Monday as well. Wednesday, Friday. We'll talk to you guys soon. John Fina tomorrow, 8 p.m. Code of Conduct. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Hump Day Hotline, Wednesday, 8 p.m. The Buffalo Sports Nerd, 8 p.m. on Thursday. The three-man rush with Jerry Ostrowski college program on Thursday at 9 p.m. Food for thought on Friday, 8 p.m., maybe 9 p.m. And then the Chop Up with Jay Spencer King and Sterling, our guy Sterling, on Saturday. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Until next week. Well, that isn't true. I'll see you tomorrow. Technically this show till next week. Go Bills.